Hey kids, welcome to Lesson 24, Module 2 still. And we're kind of getting to the end of this module talking about division, long division, and now decimal division. So we're going to divide decimal dividends by multiples of 10. Don't be afraid. We have done this before. We did it in Module 1, Lesson 2. Just to show you, back in Lesson 2, Module 1, we were multiplying and dividing by 10. So if I had 8 and 7/10 times 10, remember we would shift the digits to the left when you multiply or move the decimal to the right when you multiply to make the number bigger. If you put the decimal here, you've created 87. So that's what we mean by putting the decimal somewhere or shifting the digits. If I was to divide 8 and 7/10 by 10, I would shift the digits to lower place value positions or move the decimal to the left, or wherever you place the decimal, the digits suddenly have all their place values. So we have done this before, multiplying and dividing by 10, so don't be afraid. And so all these little place value discs, you don't actually have to do that here in Lesson 24, but this is in the warm-up to kind of get you thinking about what am I doing with these place value positions. So if you take a look at the sample problems, thank you, now it's focused. Okay, if you take a look at the sample problems like 54 divided by 10, and you want to see what's happening, the 50 is represented by the 10s and the 4 is represented by the 1s. You just take each 10 and divide it by the 10. So dividing here, 10 divided by 10 is 1. 1 divided by 10, you can do it, and you get 1/10. Now, these notes are helpful for the understanding of the lesson, but my video from last year, actually, I spent a lot of time talking about this and kind of going through each one. I would recommend that one if you want to understand kind of the behind-the-scenes look, but because it was a long video, I got cut off a little at the end, so I want to make sure I get through the end of this one. And hopefully my Wi-Fi won't cut out like the previous video yesterday, and so I want to get through the whole thing. Anyway, you can divide a number of any size. It doesn't have to be bigger than the divisor. I can have a 5 divided by 10. I can even have 54 hundredths divided by 10. And I can still get it done taking the 5, each 5 in the 10th place represented by a 1/10, and then divide them by 10. And so you can do this. There's a little bit more over here. I know, sorry if I went too fast. You can always pause and go back. But there's, in our work today, we're going to be taking these numbers like 54, and instead of just dividing by 10, we can divide by 90. But 90 can be broken into two pieces, a 10 times a 9. So if I was to take the 90 and break it into the two pieces, first 10 and then 9, or first 9 and then 10, you can get the same answer either way. 54 divided by 10 would be 5 4/10, or 54/10. Here is our unit form. Then 54 divided by 9, there's your 6th, and 10ths divided by 1s is 10ths. And then this way, if you do your quick fact first, 54 divided by 9, you get 6, and then divide 6 by 10, because we can divide a number of any size by 10, and you just shift it. So that is pretty much the warm-up. I can even change, as they will in the book today. They will not just leave it at 9. You might have 90, and so you'll have to watch as they shift the numbers around. Now, I know that's kind of quick on your intro, but you will be happy once we get going here. So it says, okay, let's divide. Take a deep breath. Divide. Show the division in the right-hand column in 2 steps. Now, when they say 2 steps, we're going to have to watch out for all the equal signs. And I'm going to highlight them just like I did in the last year's video, because it can really throw people off. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean 2 steps? So if they're taking this and this is the beginning, and then this is step 1 and this is step 2 and this is the answer, and this is where you begin, that's what they mean. So if you take your 12/10 or 1 2/10 and divide by 6, we're going to write the standard form answer over here, because this problem is going to be very similar to the previous one. So we're really just kind of looking at everything across and then stringing it out is really what they want you to do here. So let's get started. I'll have a lot of arrows as we go. First of all, let's take our 2 4/10 divided by 4. Let's call this 24/10. Okay, we've done renaming, so that should come as no surprise. Then if I'm going to divide that by 4, it's really 24 divided by 4, which is 6. Again, you must know your facts. But it's tenths divided by ones, so you get tenths. And you know what 6/10 looks like. It looks like that. So far we've done our standard form, division, standard form answer. This is kind of your crutch. This is going to help you as we get through some of the longer work. So now let's take our 24/10 and notice that it's the same, but your divisor is no longer 4, it's 40. So now we're going to do a little bit of rewriting. Notice that you rewrite that and then take this and break it into 2 parts. Okay, that's going to be our step 1. So we're taking our 2 4/10 and we're going to break it, copy it, and then break the 40 into 4, and then also divide by 10. So the 4 and the 10 are being rewritten separately, but we're going to still divide by both parts of the 40. Okay, now you're going to need this other equal sign because, again, this was step 1. Okay, if I use another color, and step 1 is breaking it apart, okay, then that's what we just did here. So now we're going to take this, and this is the answer to the first part. So that 12/10 divided by 6 is 2/10. So here's where we're going to solve that. 24 divided by 24/10 divided by 4 is going to give you the 6/10. Now this is what we did over here, so it's not new. So check yourself and make sure you have the same answer. And so that's where they're getting that. Notice that this 2/10, 2/10, 6/10, 6/10. But we still have to divide by 10. We have not taken care of this part yet, so we have to do that here. Then you have your final equal sign, and you have 6/10 divided by 10, which is just like that lesson 2 problem. And so 6/10 divided by 10 means I'm going to have to shift it to an even lower place value position, and it'll be 0 and 0.06 or 6/100 for your final answer. Okay, so I know they kind of string it out a lot. It's really, I mean, honestly, it's just horrible. Like if I was a 5th grader, I'd probably be crying, but these are not my favorite, but they are trying to like really hammer home that you can take these problems apart. So let's do another one. You really just need a lot of practice to get used to it. Okay, 147. What place value position is that? Tenths. Divided by 7. And notice that 14 and 7 are both factors of 7, so that should be really easy. And it's 7 ones. And so 7 goes into 14 2 times, and 7 divided by 7 is 1. So the answer is going to be 21, but what's our label? Tenths. So write this in standard form. Did you write 2.1? So 21/10 looks like that. Now we're going to take this and we're going to look at what we have over here. 14.7 again, and then dividing by 70. So it's 10 times greater than what we started with. Also, when thinking about what we're doing here, if I have 2 4/10 divided by 4 and I get 6/10, and then I have 2 4/10 divided by 40, my divisor that is 10 times greater is leaving me with an answer that is, it's essentially 1/10 of the answer that I had previously. In my other video, I say 10 times less. If this is 10 times more, the answer is 10 times less. But I suppose it's not mathematically accurate to say that. So if you say it's 1/10 of the answer, then you can also see, well, okay, I divided by 10, so there it is. Okay, so looking at this one, I should expect the same type of shift. So if I have 14.7, I'm going to copy that. Remember, you copy the first one. So you just copy that, copy. And then we're going to take the 70 apart, and so we're going to divide by 7 first, and then we're going to divide by 10, and then put your equal sign because we're doing it in 2 steps. This is where we break it, okay? And then we're going to solve. So you solve right here. And so 14.7 divided by 7 is what we did over here. Write your answer, 2.1. And now we have to divide by 10. And I'm just going to not even try to squeeze it in. I'm going to put 2.1 divided by 10. And so it should be 10 times less, or 1/10 of this. And I should end up with 21/100. Hope that makes sense. Let's do another one. Now they're going to change the dividend on you, so watch out. 34/100, so 34 THS divided by 2 ones. And so 34 divided by 2 is 17. And if it's hundredths divided by ones, it's hundredths, THS. I'm abbreviating again. And so what does that look like? Tenths, hundredths. It looks like 0.17. So for this one, we have a slightly different dividend. So we're going to still copy 3.4. And we're going to take apart, this is where we break it up. We're going to put 2 here and divide by 10 because that is from this 0. So I can't just copy my answer. If I have 34/10 here divided by 2, then that will give me what? So it's going to give me 17, but it's tenths. So what does that look like? That looks like 1.7. So this is a very challenging lesson. You're really going back and forth between something we haven't done in a while, which is unit form, standard form, and then going back to the shifting. We still have to divide this last piece, divide by 10, and I'm not even going to try to squeeze it in. 1 7/10 divided by 10, 0.17. Okay? I know when I say okay, you guys are like, it is not okay. This is not okay at all. I'm going to turn this just a wee bit because my page is all bulky. Okay, let's do another one. So if I have what? 45/100 divided by 9 ones. 45 divided by 9 is 5, but I need my hundredths. 5/100 looks like this. Now here I have the same dividend, and then they go back to the same thing. My divisor is 10 times more. So my answer will be, I could just predict it, 10 times less. In fact, why don't I just do that? 0.05. Now how do I know that? Because I'm going to take my 0.45 and I'm going to divide it by 9, and then I'm going to divide by 10. Okay? So this part here, 45/100 divided by 9, is what we just did, and I got 5/100, but I now have to divide by 10. This is like the first part, this is the second part. This is where we break it up, this is where we finish it off. 5/100 divided by 10 makes 5/1000. Ta-da! There you go. Okay, let's do another one. 3.45, 3 45/100, or 345/100 divided by 3 ones. So if I have 3 divided by 3, I get 1. 4 divided by 3, I get 1 with 1 left over, and then I have that carried into the 5, which is 15, which would be 5. But where do I put the decimal? If it's 345 divided by 3 and it's supposed to be 115/100 THS, then this has to be in the hundredths place, therefore the decimal goes here. Different dividend. okay? 34.5, so that it's 10 times greater here. And my divisor is 100 times greater than my 3. So copy 34.5, divide by the 3 first, then divide by 100. So I'm splitting this out into 3 and 100. Okay, I'm not even going to try to squeeze that second part in. We'll do it here, and then we'll have the answer. So if I have the 34 and 5/10, or 345 tenths divided by 3 ones, I know I'm going to end up with the 115 tenths. 115 tenths. Tenths divided by ones is tenths, and we know it's 115, so write the standard form. Then divide by 100, and that's going to be a shift to smaller place value positions so that we end up with 115 thousandths. Okay? You know what? I know it's not okay. I know you guys are totally confused, but I hope a few of you guys are kind of getting it, maybe a little bit, just at least tying it to what we did earlier in the year. Okay, straighten it out again. Now, this is just bleeding through from the backside. So use place value reasoning and the first quotient to compute the second quotient. So we have to reason about this. We're going to figure it out, but we just explain our thinking, okay? So they've already given you the answer, just like on the previous page. We just have to think about how the numbers are changing. 46 and 5/10 is the same. But the divisor in the second one is 10 times greater. I mentioned that on the previous page. So what would your answer be? If I'm splitting it into bigger groups, then my answer is going to be 10 times smaller, because I don't have, it's like, I don't know if I'm saying it right. So it's like if the divisor is 10 times greater, then your quotient is going to be 10 times smaller because these are bigger. It's just, I don't know. It's hard for me to explain. I guess I'm not doing a very good job there. So I would take my 9 and 3, okay, and instead of having the decimal here, I need this to be 10 times smaller, so I'm going to shift it right here. So 0 and 93 hundredths is my answer, my quotient. I don't have to figure it out. I was talking about it over here on the previous page. Remember, depending on the size of your divisor, and then we proved it by shifting with that second division. So that's what we're doing when we're working with it over here. So you don't have to solve, you just can write it down knowing that when this is greater, then the quotient will be 10 times smaller. Okay, so the divisor is 10 times greater, so the quotient will be 10 times smaller. Or if you don't like that, 1/10 of the original quotient. Okay? All right, and these are going to be kind of the same, so let's check them out. If I have 51, the dividend is the same. And then this one has, again, divisor is 10 times greater than the previous one. Okay? So, answer, quotient will be, you don't even have to put answer, quotient will be what? 1/10 of the original quotient, or 10 times smaller. How do we make this one 10 times smaller, or 1/10 of? You shift it to the right so that it is smaller. That the 1 will be in the next place value position, 7, again, shifting them right. Down here, let's look at this. Okay, same dividend. What did they do to us? What did they do? The original divisor is 10 times greater, so this divisor is 1/10 of, or it's 10 times smaller. smaller. So the quotient, what do you think? Pregnant pause, that's what you call that. So the quotient will be what? If the divisor is smaller, then the quotient will be bigger. So how much will it be bigger by? It's got 1 0, so that's going to be 1 place value position. So you basically take that and multiply by 10. 10 times bigger. And now we can say 10 times bigger, and that's okay. How about this one? Same dividend. And look at what they did the same thing. Okay? So watch out. If you have your divisor is 1/10 of the original or 10 times less. So the quotient will be what? That's right, 10 times bigger. Okay. And I hope you're getting the hang of it. That page was, interesting and sometimes hard, but let's do these last ones. Yep, they're terrible and long, and we'll see if we can get it done ASAP. 20 polar bears live at the zoo. In 4 weeks, watch out for all the word form numbers. In 4 weeks, 1, 2, 3, 4. They eat 9,732 and 8/10 pounds of food altogether. Wow, look at me making the tape diagram. 9,732.8 pounds of food altogether. And that's for 20 bears. Assuming each bear is fed the same amount of food, how much food is used to feed one bear for a week? This is the 4 weeks, so this is 1 week. Round your answer to the nearest pound. Wow, what do we do with this? So first of all, we're going to need to take all this food and divide it by the 20 bears. Okay, you can do this so you can find out the amount of food that each bear eats in 4 weeks. Okay, and then we can do one more division. So let's do our 9732, and we're going to divide by 20. Thank goodness it's an even 10. It makes us it easy to count. 20, 40, 60, 80. If I have 4 20s, I will get 80, which leaves me with 17 left. That's okay. It's less than 20. Bring down the 3. Okay, and again, the steps of your division family. Divide, multiply, subtract, compare, bring down. Put that on everything you do. And don't forget, dad, mom, sister, cousin, brother. In that order, every single time. Now I'm going to divide 173. Remember, breaking down this dividend by the remaining amounts. So I have 173 that I'm dividing by 20. If I was to count 8 20s, I would get 160 with a remainder of 13. Okay, now I already brought this one down. 13 is less than 20, so now I'm going to bring down the 2. 132 divided by 20. Counting by 2s, I could get 6 and then multiply and get 120 with a remainder of 12. And when I have, those are the last of the ones, this is the 8/10 that are left of the pounds of food, but I can continue dividing. I can put another 6 here, and 6 times 20 would be the 120, and we haven't done this in a while, so bear with me. If I have 8/10 left and you annex a 0, we don't just put our 8, bring that 0 down, noting that we have 80 hundredths here, and if I divide that by 20, then I can get 4, and then 4 times 20 would be 80, and I can end up with a 0 remainder and an exact answer for how many pounds for all 20. So that would be for one bear. Okay, per bear for 4 weeks. So let's take this now, because I really just need one bear for 1 week. 486 and 64 hundredths. And I can divide by, sorry, 4. Sorry, pregnant. But that's what you call a pregnant pause. 486. Where did I put my decimal? 486.64. And then, why am I doing that one? Oh, yes. Sorry. Like, what am I doing? Where am I? I take this and I divide by 4. 486.64. Looking around too much. Okay, 4 divided by 4 is 1. 1 times 4. And then nothing left over, bring down. And it's divide, multiply, subtract, compare, bring down over and over and over again. So now it's 8 divided by 4, which is 2. 2 times 4 is 8. Subtract and get 0. Bring down the 6. 6 divided by 4 is 1. 1 times 4 is 4. Subtract and get 2. This is now 26 tenths. That's all good. Divide 26 by 4. Multiply, subtract, and we have this last 4 that comes down, and we know it's going to be exact. Okay. And we get to 0. So finally, what is this? This is 121 and 66 hundredths pounds, LBS, for one bear in 1 week. In 1 week. Even I'm like, what? What is this? Okay, and for one bear in 1 week. Okay, but finally, don't forget to go back and reread always. Round your answer to the nearest pound. Let's take our 121 and 66 hundredths pounds, and we need to round to the nearest pound. Where is the nearest pound? That's here. So this is the helping number. These are the numbers I'm concerned with. 16 would round up to 20. 6 is a big bossy, so you just add 1. So that becomes 122 pounds of food per bear per week. Okay. There you go. Aren't these fun? Okay. We're almost done. Let's see if we can finish this. The total weight of 30 bags of flour and 4 bags of sugar is 42 6/10 kilograms. If each bag of sugar weighs 75 hundredths kilograms, what is the weight of each bag of flour? So first thing you can do is make a tape diagram. And we have flour and we have sugar. So let's do the flour. And that's 30 bags. And then sugar. And we know that that's 4 bags. Sugar. And the total weight of the sugar is 42.6 kilograms. Okay. Oh, nope. My bad. Again, apparently this is not my day. Okay, the total weight is 42.6. Okay, if each bag of sugar weighs 75 hundredths kilograms, 1 of those, okay, so then to find the sugar, you can take your 75 hundredths and multiply by 4 to find out all the sugar, and then we can label it. 5 times 4 is 20, 28, 29, 30, 4 times 0, 0 plus 3. If it's hundredths times ones, it's hundredths, so that's your label, and that's for kilograms, so then it would be 3.0, or you can just leave it 3 kilograms. So now what do? Well, you're going to take the total weight, 42 6/10 kilograms total. Take away the sugar that you know how much it weighs, which is 3. Now, watch out where you're lining these things up, because when you add and subtract, you have to line up the decimals. So I know we're getting to the edge of the page here. So 6 minus 0, 6. 2 minus 3, or 42 minus 3 is 39. You can do the standard algorithm, take 1, give 10, and either way you're going to end up with 39. So you have 39 6/10 kilograms of flour for all the 30 bags. And then it says, what is the weight of each bag of flour? So we're going to take our 30 bags of flour and divide the 39 6/10 kilograms of flour by the 30. Now, decimal division, when it's in the bracket, put it up on top immediately. Now I have 39 divided by 30 for 1. Did your multiply? Here's your subtract. Here's your compare. Bring down. If I have a 96/10, and that's really close, I know what I can do. I can divide this, and I can get 3. 3 times 30 is 90, leaving me with the 6/10. But annex a 0, bring it down, and do that division and finish this out. And I hope these videos are helpful, or at least entertaining. You watch me flub up. 60 divided, click subscribe and come back is what I'm saying. 60 divided by 30 would be 2. Then you have an exactly 0 answer. And so 1 32 kilograms would be the weight of each bag of flour. So label that is the weight of each bag of flour. All right. So we'll see you on the next video then, right? Yes. Yes, class. I'll see you anyway. I'll see you in class. Each bag of flour. Fabulous. Come back again. We'll see you soon.